And thus it begins. Figured I'd say I was streaming in a few minutes, and rather than miss the window completely, okay, just go ahead and start while I'm in the middle of a run. Why the hell not? I'm only doing random stuff today anyway. It's not like I'm far enough in the storyline to do anything else. I've been meaning to get like all of my classes up to at least level 50, which is old level cap prior to the expansion. Come here, maidservant. I pull you from my closet. Remember that being a thing in 11. When your archers or whoever go out and pull the mobs to your party. You don't really need pullers anymore. You also don't even need big groups to farm things anymore. That's like the old way of doing things. Like camp in a zone that would otherwise kill you and just hold out in a group and kill things together. Kind of a neat idea. At the same time, ever since WoW came out and introduced the concept of, hey, you can level by yourself and do quests by yourself and play solo, everybody's kind of gone to that method. I kind of understand it too. I think I prefer this method anyway. Seeing as how it kind of sucks not being able to go out in the world and explore it by yourself, you know. If you need a growing group of 5, after a game's been out for a while, not everyone's going to want to go out and explore. And if you're new and you kind of want to see all the ends of the earth, no one's really going to care. They're going to be like, no, we've got our established farming routes, established farming locations. Kind of noticed that in 11, you know. It was kind of hard to get anywhere in 11 because if you weren't mounted, you were dead. Monsters would just pursue you. That whole train to zone thing, where you'd have monsters literally following you until you got to the end of a zone. You know, I don't think they had leashing back then. I don't think it was necessarily a design choice, but might have been a programming choice. Once the creature was activated. I don't know. Could have been a little bit of both. But now, you know, they've got all these code for leashing monsters, so if they follow for a bit, and they're like, nope, we're going back. And of course, to prevent them from being tricked out and camped that way. And I think this is where the limitation came in from the old days, is now monsters that get leashed back are invulnerable as they do. I think even in WoW for a time, and this is probably not true anymore, but I think back when I first started, I think you could literally leash a monster and then do damage to it as it was going back. I'm not sure, I think it went back to full hit points immediately. All kinds of programming challenges you don't really think of. Let's do it, boys. Come on. Don't be afraid of the flies and the skeleton. I fire tons of arrows to make them feel dead. The one downside, though, to this game not having individual characters for each class, like your one character can play every class, is not having quests to level up easily. And so I gotta sit here and grind dungeons in order to get levels. And that wouldn't be too bad. Like, if I got... just the levels are spaced out so much. If I can get a level per dungeon run, I'd probably be okay with it. all my buffs out. Let's go ahead and put the dots back out. Looks like my enhanced arrow's back, so we'll go ahead and add it. And then another dot. Just sit back and pelt arrows at this guy all day. Finish him. I find it funny in this game I gravitated towards Dragoon, but I mean, I loved Dragoon in 11. And honestly, let's face it, I did Dragoon in 11 because Dragoon was my favorite class in the previous Final Fantasies. Mostly because of Final Fantasy IV and my experience with it, it being one of my first big story-based RPGs, and I just fell in love with it. And Kain was my favorite character, so there you go. Boom. Instant love for Dragoons. So I started playing Dragoons. However, in World of Warcraft, my main, near the end of my lifespan, was a mage. I started out as a warlock, because as I read the descriptions in the original WoW manual, and they went away from this, unfortunately, a bit, was warlocks were kind of the debuff class. They were the support class, the class that made every other class shine. It's kind of what I gravitated towards. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be that support guy, that guy that helped everybody else. You know, I didn't really want the stress of being a healer, but I wanted to be able to make people do well, to help them do their damage. You know, that guy that feels cool to bring around because he's willing to help you. He doesn't care about doing the major damage himself. And unfortunately, they kind of went away from that, and they're like, no, we want everybody to be able to do a reasonable amount of DPS. And it's understandable. So they kind of went to this whole, this holy trilogy of tank, healer, DPS thing where you don't really need support classes anymore. Support classes are all healers. So everybody started doing their own amount of damage. I don't know, I kind of like the idea of a class that supports. But it's true. It turns into this thing where, well, then if you don't have that class, then your party will feel gimped. So where in the balance? Where do you balance that, right? You want to... I don't know why everybody's not moving. What are we doing, guys? We lost our tank. Oh, I think our tank is new. Did I see right? Ugly Duckling is in the... Wow, Ugly Duckling is in the translator. Weird. I didn't mean to do that. Where do you balance that, right? I mean, you gotta balance it so that you don't necessarily need the support, but if you don't need the support, then who wants to bring them? So if you balance it to where you need the support, then how do you make it so that groups without one don't feel gimped? Do you make it like a fourth type? And then add several types of that type? But then how do you make them different? I don't know. Well, I guess we're going into the boss. Cool. hit the lamp. I'll get the other one. There we got the dots. We're moving quickly. We're into this phase again. Sentry. That hurt just a tiny bit. Oh, well, I was going to give it to the other DPS, but apparently the other DPS done left. Yeah, he's watching the cutscene. Not a single commendation. Commandant. Never did get all my beast tribes up, and now there's 2 more of them in this expansion. Oh well, it's not like I'm really care too much about all the stuff they give. I mean, they give mounts, pets. I always forget to have my pet out. I gotta go back where I was, and I need this mount to complete this quest. Something about the quest log not showing the quests that are immediate to you all the time. I have to go in and adjust it. Every time I do dailies, I gotta go in and adjust it. Mainly here, because I have like 6 dailies I do all at once. Now I am looking for bombs. Suspicious coffer. There it is. Time to sneeze, big boy. Oh, disgusting. Boom! Jump. That's why I like being a Dragoon, I guess. At some point I should really just re-add the World of Warcraft videos I made a long time ago with their original audio. I changed them a bit due to copyright stuff, but as long as I don't get strikes, I don't care if someone else claims them. I didn't really even think about that back then. I thought it was a big thing that I just shouldn't do, but now I'm like, if someone else claims it and get the monetization on it, I don't care. I just kind of want them out there. I thought they were okay for my first attempts at any kind of videos. I mean, hell, it was one of those World of Warcraft videos that made me decide to make this channel and make tutorial videos, because I did a semi-tutorial video without even really thinking about it. And tons of people watched it as an explanation for part of a legendary quest. I was like, damn. This is what I should do. I kind of stopped. At some point, I should go back. I just need to find something that I want to sit down and cover in depth. We'll see. Hasn't been easy. New job for the last year. Gives me very little time for the days during the days I work. It gives me a lot of time during the days I don't work. Kind of an interesting juxtaposition there. I kind of prefer it this way, but at the same time I kind of realize that having a lot of time during just a little bit of time every day kind of helps me get in the mindset of making things, because it's like I'll just set time aside each day for this activity or that activity, like maybe a few hours a day for editing. But now, since I only have a few days off at a time, I find myself with days that are dedicated to things. Like I might spend a whole day doing something. Which means I don't have any time during that day to set aside for small projects like editing, recording another video. It's kind of really interesting. It's like, now I can dedicate days to doing things, but it means I have less time. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. First world problems, I suppose. If I really sat down and wrote out some kind of schedule, I'd probably be fine. I guess I'm not terribly committed if I'm not doing that, huh? I don't know. It's one of those things, again, got to kind of find the inspiration that I want to move towards. You know, doing Diablo all the time was fun for a long time, but I feel maybe at some point, and I don't think it was Diablo, but just that genre of game just kind of stopped. I got burned out on it a bit because I was playing so much. I was playing, at one time I was playing Path of Exile, Torchlight, Diablo, played a few other different little things, clones, try them out. And they're all good. Grim Dawn just came out. That's really good too. But I don't find myself as compelled by that gameplay at the moment. And I think part of it is I used to play first-person shooters for quite a long time too. I used to be very competitive. And now I've been, I still play Heroes of the Storm, I just haven't recorded videos for it. They never really seem to be very, a lot of people, a few people did like them, but it didn't seem to be as, doing as well as some of the others I had. So it was kind of like this thing where, I put a lot of effort into those, and they weren't getting as much return on the effort, as it were. I'm like, yeah, I like playing it, but do I necessarily like explaining it? maybe doing matches would be okay. I don't know. But that's been kind of my PvP fix, and now that Overwatch is coming out, I think that's going to be a big thing for me. I enjoyed playing the beta so much, and I kind of miss having a first-person shooter to tool around in. I haven't played one in so many years. It kind of brings me to the fact that I've been playing Dying Light a ton since the new the expansion came out, the following. I'm going to tell you, it's an amazing game. I don't know if the original game... I think because it's got the expansion on it, it's probably part of it that I like it so much, because I've seen some comments and videos about the original. While it wasn't bad, they definitely added a lot, tweaked a lot. I've been really enjoying it. I should really switch over to my Bard and see if I can get some experience this way. It's not a lot, but it's some. Yeah, see, and I'm still 47. When I entered that dungeon when I started on, I was still 47. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm just making excuses for myself, and that's probably true. Well, I do, you know? And here I am, streaming to an empty channel, talking to myself, trying to figure out my own thoughts. It is a thing. It is a thing. But, you know, I like talking to people, showing things off, even if no one's interested in watching. I just kind of enjoy that aspect. You know, I kind of like being able to say, hey, check this out, it's kind of neat. And... oh, well. Random thoughts from a random streamer, random YouTuber. Won't deny, I do get struck by bouts of depression. It happens. It's something I've dealt with for a long time. I don't necessarily talk about it. But it's there. And there you go, now you know. Where was I going? I already did Thanalan. Outer Lenosha. There we go. So I'm playing 14, I guess I'll mention. They're doing a kind of a neat campaign where you get like 4 days of game time for free. If you, as long as you had played the game before, and your account's been active for about 30 days. So I think that's cool because they've added some patches, there's new story content, so if you got to the end of the story and stopped playing, there's new story out there, and you could kind of come back and preview it. It's a neat idea. They added a mentoring program that I thought I could join, but apparently I couldn't because I'm not max level. I'm only one away now. I worked on that a bit. Because really what happened is I started playing, got to like halfway through the expansion levels, and then I just started playing all my other classes, and all my other classes were like in the level 20s and 30s. And so I've been striving to get them all to 50. And you can kind of see the fruits of that labor here. Almost everything is 50 now, except for Archer and one of the new classes, the Machinist. So my Archer's at 47. Get him up to 50, and then I can move on to other things, I guess. So apparently it turns out I had an item I needed for the turn-in for one of those daily quests already. Because I had, at one point, did a lot of things here. I've just got like a lot of items in my inventory. Kind of left over from that. I used to be really big into MMOs. Like, when I got into Final Fantasy XI, I played it all the time. When I got into WoW, I played it all the time. And then lately I've been trying newer MMOs. I thought I would really love WildStar, and for a time while I was playing it before it came out, I did. I just never subscribed to it. Now it's free to play. So I really should try it out again, but I just haven't. But then again, because I'm paying for my subscription for 14 and I haven't been playing this as much, I really should cancel the subscription, save myself a little bit of money, but every now and then I come back to it and I just play it, kind of like now. It's just a really weird thing, you know. I can't really explain it. It's just weird habits that I put myself into as a gamer. I still kind of like the game. Even if every now and then I don't care to play it. Part of it could be I don't really have a huge group of friends that I play with anymore. In 11, I had a guild that I really liked for a long time. And we did stuff. We didn't do in-game content or anything. I was always leveling in that game. Never got to the end. 14 and WoW, I joined a guild that was not like top. They weren't like super hardcore, but they were. We were still doing hard modes. We did hard mode Deathwing, so we got through the in-game content, the hardest part of the in-game content in Cataclysm at the time. That's when I stopped playing. But we did quite a bit together. I joined them back in Burning Crusade, and they were raiding, and I did a few raids of Karazhan with them. And then I said to myself, you know what? That was my first experience with raiding, and I was like, ooh, this is really fun. Karazhan was really awesome. So I thought the moment that the next expansion came out. So I'm just thinking, what was after Burning Crusade? It wasn't Cataclysm. Wow, why can't I remember now? Oh yeah, Wrath of the Lich King. Wrath of the Lich King, derp, of course. That's when I started seriously playing and said to myself, I want to level up, I want to get to the end game, and I want to play it with these guys. And we did hard mode Lich King. We did it. I was quite proud of that feat. It was not easy at all. I had a lot of fun with Lich King. The Oregon tournament stuff was kind of boring, but the rest of it I really loved, and then we went on to Cataclysm, and I stopped at Cataclysm. It wasn't that I disliked the game, it was just that it's to the point where, you know, dedicating to the raiding was not really doing it for me anymore, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta move on, kind of. I honestly think part of it was my guild and myself moved servers and factions, actually. We were an alliance group on one server, and we moved to another server, and their horde side was bigger into the raids than their alliance side. So we all traded sides. The cost of moving one character across servers and as another faction was like $60 or something, and for me that was just way too expensive. The guild was very generous, and they paid for it. Like, I was aghast. I mean, that was one of those things. It was like, I was just super thankful. I was very happy to keep playing with the guys, and that's why I went through Cataclysm. But at the end, I was kind of like, you know, I kind of want to play my other characters. They're on a different server. They're on a different faction. I really haven't liked I liked having the self-sufficient part of myself on an MMO. So I, you know, because I had every single one of them had a specific crafting type and gathering type, and I had them kind of laid out how I wanted, and I was doing my quests with each one of them, and to me that was kind of neat to have each of these characters that kind of went up, and I had them staggered in levels so that if someone wanted to do content in a certain level area or level range, I could say, okay, I'll grab this character and help you, or grab that character. I didn't have that anymore, so when I got kind of burnt out on the in-game stuff, I was like, all my other stuff is kind of off on a different server, and it doesn't mean that I couldn't have done it. It was just I couldn't be with my guild if I did it, and I could have recreated them, but it was a lot of work I put into each one. And I think that was what did it ultimately. A little bit of that, a little bit of a lot of things really. No one thing caused it. Here I am kind of pouring my heart out to a camera. Maybe I'll put this on YouTube, see if anyone cares. I'll call it streaming vlog or something. I don't know. Alright, that's it with the kobolds. Let's go to Aleport and do the Sahagin. And this is typical MMO. I queued up for a dungeon as a DPS. I said I didn't care which dungeon it was, and I will join a dungeon in progress. By the way, if you ever played Final Fantasy XIV, get used to this little button up here, join party in progress, and make sure it's highlighted. Everybody will thank you for it. People will love you for it. I think a lot of people don't even realize this button is up here. I also turned on all my language options. I did that recently. I don't know if it helps. Kind of like this. This is kind of a new feature of the more recent patches. You can actually kind of see who's looking for parties. And it looks like there's really only 3 other people looking at the moment. No one specifically looking for any kind of dungeon. Makes sense. It is a Monday evening. Monday afternoon. Yeah, it's about 4, almost 5 o'clock. I guess you could say that's evening. But it'll take time for me to get a group. I'm number 24 in the list of DPS. Oh. It's kind of neat that they show that now. They didn't used to show that. Kind of sucks that UI elements get knocked off when you do this kind of stuff too. Like they've got this thing where the game has to take control of certain aspects of your UI. It's like I can't. It's like I've got a companion chocobo, and I want to level him, but if I'm leveling my chocobo, he counts as a party member, so I can't go looking for a party. It's like really weird little things, and I imagine there are limitations of the programming of the game from back when Final Fantasy XIV first came out, because it was weird. When Final Fantasy XIV first came out, it just had so many problems. A Realm Reborn really revitalized it. Took a lot of ideas from a lot of other MMOs and just kind of... They basically did what Blizzard did, you know? They look at everything else out there, take a lot of the good ideas, make it very uniquely their own, and it worked out for them. A lot of people came back, and the game has been hugely successful since.